I've got my string line in place. I measured the string line off the other wall and it is 6 inches. So that's where I'm gonna start here, is 6 inches. But the problem is we gotta be a little careful here because I'm stepping it up several times. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 step ups. That means, and each time it steps up, the blocks move back a half an inch. Okay, so that makes it a little bit tricky. It makes it tricky to get a straight looking wall because every time I step up, that moves the whole thing back a half an inch. So I'm not quite sure, and especially this way up here. You can see I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 steps, that's 4 inches. 4 inches, it's gonna move this way. Well, I apologize. While I was leveling this gravel, I missed a little bit of it because apparently my camera overheated in the heat. I hope the sun goes away. I hope it doesn't miss any of this, but I'm gonna show you how to set and level a block. Now, I measured 6 inches on those, but this one's gonna be under, so I'm gonna start at 5 inches, okay? All right, we're just gonna throw a block down. And I'm gonna actually get this one a little closer to the edge here. And we're gonna try to get it close to where we're at. Now, how do we do that? Well, I'm gonna measure from the front edge for this first. Later, I found out that it's better to measure from the back of the blocks because that's where it's more important to line it up because the blocks are slightly different sizes. I take my level and I set it at the front of the block on one edge. And then I get it level with the bubble here. And then I measure from here to the string, and I want that to be about 5 inches. I usually do plus or minus 1/8 of an inch. All right, oh, I want this 5 inches, I'm sorry. So we're too far. Let's try this. And we're at 5 inches exactly there. And then I go to this end. That was lucky. Move it out. And looks like we're at 4.5, so I have to move this back a half inch. So I move it back and I measure it again. Now it's very important to get the first row perfectly on, perfectly level and perfectly on. All right, that's pretty close right there. Okay, when it's close, we're not done yet. Can't just leave it like this. So I'm setting the level on the top here and I'm looking to see where it's at. It's a little high on this side. And now I'm going to check this way. It's way high on the back here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to, with the first layer I usually jiggle it around. I'm going to dig that back into the ground. Now I'm going to check the level again. Usually I think I do that first before I before I measure, get it ironed on. Okay, we're getting closer here. Okay, all right, it's leaning back a little bit now. Let's see how much. Just a little bit. Maybe an eighth, not even an eighth, but that's fine, that's good. All right, now I want this to be, we're gonna get it right on next. I want 5 inches, 5 or 5.5, no less than 5. 5 1/4, 5 1/8. It's hard to do by yourself. It's easier with 2 people. I'm at right under 5.5. It's a 5 3/8.
Expect it to take 10-15 minutes to level every single block.
5 3/8.
Sometimes even 20 minutes. You know, some of those blocks are
Better than 5.
they take a lot more persistence to level, and I can't stress this enough. You know, that first course of blocks is the absolutely most important thing to get right. Once you get that first course on, everything else becomes a lot easier.
Okay, so I moved it, slid it back a little bit. Get that right on the tip of that. Oh, we're there. Okay, and then another thing. All right, so I'm aligning this first one to the front, but after we do this first row, we're gonna measure off the backs, because a lot of these have different widths. Right here, they're different widths, so they won't all line up the same, so you almost have to line up the back. So I'm going to do that now. Now I got my first block kind of where I want it. I'm going to measure off the back. Well, I'll do that on, so I could place the next block and match that back portion right there. We're going to check the level of the block again. So because we got the front edge where we want it, now we look at it and we say, oh, it's a little high here. So it's a little high right here. So I'm going to show you what I do about that. So you take your 4x4 or your landscaping block, and then you stand on the block like this. And the part that you want to go down, you put your body weight there, and then you could just tap it. Check it again, make sure the block isn't wobbling. So I did 3 light taps. And now I'm gonna check level again. Look at that. It went down a little bit. We're gonna give it 3 more taps. Again, this row is the only row that we gotta do this with, but you wanna do it right. You wanna get it perfect.
I proceed to go around and level it and tap it and level it and tap it several times before I finally did get it right. So it takes a while, but again, I cannot stress the importance of this enough, that this force course is the most important.
So that's how you level it. See how it's just slightly forward? So if I lift this up a little bit, you can see it's like an eighth. You can see the level. Should be perfectly in the center. So that's how you want every block, just like that. A lot of this gravel here. down. See, it's higher. Considerably higher. Looks like we got like maybe 1/8 of an inch. Might be able to tap that in. So we can kind of look here. The level it shows, this one is higher. And it's higher here. It's higher in the front. And the back is a little low, I think. Check. Oh, it's pretty close. Okay. Excellente. Actually, I'm going to start going from the back now because these are different measurements, and this is the important measurement is the back. So, all right, we're at 15 and 1/8. And I'm going to check this back here. And we're at 14 and 7/8. So we're just gonna that's not going. So I try to get it dead on because when I do stand on it and jiggle it into place, it moves a little bit, just a little bit. So it moved a 1/4 inch. So it's a 1/4 inch off. That's fine. But I want this one to be pretty much dead on. You know, no more than 1/8 because it'll probably move another 1/8. Yeah, we gotta go back. I don't know why I didn't go back. I mean, I could tell it was off. Let's try that. $15 and 1/8. Perfect. 15 1/4. So it's 1/8 off. That's, might be able to tap it forward. That's it. Okay. Now we'll see where we got to tap it. Pretty much all around, but not the back. A little bit in the back. Okay. Give it a happy tap. Just take it to its happy place. Okay, tapped it up. Now we're going to run the level, or check the level first. Still high on this side. Looks pretty darn good on this side. Still a little high. The back. Is slightly low, so I'm not going to tap the back again. Okay, that slides over that way. That slides over. And it's still a little high on my side here by about 1/8 of an inch. I struggled with this block again for a while, tapping, measuring, again, you have to get these perfect. I don't show me finishing this one because apparently the camera, it went black. I think it was due to the heat, so the camera kind of overheated. Put the next geotextile layer in here. Pretty simple. Here, I'm going to tuck it in. Hey, it makes it clean when you kneel, at least. Here. Yeah, look, it's just where I compacted it, it's super hard. Oh yeah. There it is. All right. Excellent. We got it close to level. You can see in that space right here, there was a gap. So I put 2 pieces in there. And so for the next blocks, all we do is we just repeat that process over and over for every step. The next thing I do is I fill the centers of the blocks with gravel because I already have them now exactly where I want them. And now I need to lock them in place. And you do that by putting gravel in the center. To just try to dump it. I do about 30. I count to 30. I start really light. I do and then I do 20 more, kind of a little harder. You don't want to go too hard because I did crack one of these. Broke it right in half. Alright. Alright, we got to lock in these blocks since we got them right where we want them. So I'm putting dirt all around them. And this tile needs to be sloped perfect too. And I have a nice slope here. And we need to pile dirt behind the tile. And I will wrap that with geo too once I get closer. And we're going to build up right around the tile so that when the water will drop in with the gravel from the dirt here, it's going to drop right into that tile. So this dirt, we have to fill this with dirt all the way to this line and follow that. So even on the next set of blocks. So that'll lock these in so I don't mess these up. And I do need to put a block here. Actually, I should do that before because we're going to be going this way too. So I need to put a couple pieces there. As I'm watching this video of me shoveling dirt, I'm kind of looking at there and wondering, thinking that I should have probably, you see that geo there, that geotextile that's kind of not folded up. I should have folded that around the rock. This is very heavy clay soil, so I'm not sure how much it matters, but it will eventually migrate into that rock and do some settling, and I kind of wish I did wrap that geotextile. How much, longevity will it have without it? I don't really know, but so if I was recommending this to anybody else, just put some geotextile on top of that rock there between those blocks. Just to help a little bit. Just give yourself an ease of mind, I guess we would call it. You spend all this time leveling those blocks. It really takes forever. And then I didn't fold that geotextile over. It's not a killer. I mean, they don't even require geotextile, but eventually, we're talking 20 years down the line, it'll probably, it might show a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I've got the first layer in. Got the dirt packed around it. Or not packed, but placed around it. I'm going to use my 4x4 and go ahead and pack what I can, and then go back in with the 2x4 and pack in front of these blocks. I want this to be very compact. I don't really want water going through this below as much as possible.
Okay, if we're looking at the bottom left of the video, the bottom block, I mean, you can see that I snuck in another block there. A portion of a block. Looks like I dug up the gravel and placed another block there. If you've made it this far, we have successfully put in our first row, and the next row we're going to be having to cut a corner block, so I'm going to be doing that in the next video. If this video helped you, please help me by liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below.